Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you a fascinating attacking game played by 15-year-old Garry Kasparov. Kasparov is on the white side and his opponent is Alexander Panchenko. The game was played in 1978 in Daugavpils, which is a city in Latvia. But before starting our game, make sure that you are subscribed in order not to miss my future uploads. The future world chess champion opened up with e4 and Panchenko responded with Sicilian Defense c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, d6, bishop g5, e6, queen d2. White is going for this razor-sharp Richter-Rauzer attack, a6, white castles queenside, bishop d7, f4, b5, and knight takes c6. Instead of playing knight takes c6, the most popular continuation starts with bishop takes f6, but in our game we have the second most popular choice, knight takes c6. Here black recaptured with the bishop, bishop d3, bishop e7 and e5. I have to tell you that these positions have been seen a lot of times, but in 1976, 2 years earlier before this game, this position was seen in a game played between Anatoly Karpov and Mikhail Tal. In that game, instead of playing e5, Karpov first played rook e1 and only then played e5. The game later ended up in a draw, but in this game after bishop e7 we have e5 straight away. As black king is stuck in the center of the board, white wants to make use of that fact and target opponent's king as soon as possible. That's why goes for an immediate thrust and e5 is on the board. D takes e5, f takes e5, knight d7. In here we have the exchange of dark squared bishops on e7 and bishop e4. This is the start of a brilliant attack where white is sacrificing a pawn. Black accepted the offer of exchange of light squared bishops and then won the central pawn on e5. But at the same time, this allows white to go for knight d6 check. But first, Kasparov played queen d4 and only after f6, which is somewhat weakening black's king's side, he went for knight d6 check, king f8, rook f1. Already white wants to capture on e5, the pawn on f6 is pinned, that's why black moved away his king from the f file, and there it goes, g4 is on the board with the idea of playing g5. Black played h6, but this time the h pawn is coming to support the advance of the g pawn. Knight f7, queen e4, white is first targeting black rook and also is pinning the pawn on e6 and now will place his knight on f5. Rook f8 was played, which is a mistake and allows white to gain advantage. Instead it was better to play rook d8. If knight f5, then black can go for the exchange of rooks on d1 and then play queen c7. If queen takes e6, yes, in this line black is giving back the one pawn but is managing to consolidate his position. Black can still fight back, but in our game after queen e4 we have rook f8. Now comes knight f5 and after queen e8 this time we have knight d4. e5 was played and already no one can bother the knight on f5 and the knight jumped back on f5 square. Of course, you can't even play a move like g6 because white has this beautiful knight e7 move and then can announce a checkmate. In our game after knight f5, black played h5, which is weakening his king's side too much. Instead, it was better to make a move like queen e6, a waiting move, and at the same time black is attacking this pawn on a2. But in our game we have h5, rook g1. Well, according to the engine, queen b7 is even winning faster, with the idea of knight e7 check, and if king h7 this time the rook can penetrate the 7th rank. But in our game after h5 we have rook g1, and the problem with this move is that after rook h7 the threat was g takes h5 followed by rook takes g7 checkmate. Black first played rook h7 and after queen b7 he could have prolonged his resistance by playing knight d8. If queen d5 check then king h8 and if g5 then f takes g5 followed by g6. Black manages to repel white's attack, though still white stands much better. But in our game we have king h8 and after this move actually victory becomes a matter of moves. Here we have g takes h5, black can't even recapture because all the time the rook should safeguard the g7 square. Queen e6 was played but this taps into a devastating move. You can pause the video and try to find Kasparov's next move. Ready? In here, Garry Kasparov went for knight takes g7. Look at this epic sacrifice, guys. The idea is that knight rook takes g7, then after the exchange of rooks, white can announce a check from g2, and you are forced to give away your knight. Otherwise, if king h8, then rook g1 is coming, and black's position is hopeless. In this case, also, black should play knight g5. But in our game, after knight takes g7, we have queen takes a2. Black is trying to create counter-attacking chances, but there is no way out. Here we have queen e7, rook g8. Well, if queen a1 check, this won't give black anything. White can simply play king d2. If rook d8 check, then white can either capture on d8 or king e2 is even stronger. In our game, after queen e7, we have rook g8 and simply queen takes f6. Queen a1 check, a desperate attempt, king d2, another check, this time from a5, king e2, rook takes g7, and after rook takes g7, rook takes g7, rook g1, finally we have a resignation. Though I have to tell you that still black could try his luck and make some more moves. The thing is that after knight g5, rook takes g5, queen c7, white has to be very careful and not go for this tempting h6 move, which can allow black to give a perpetual check. That's why after queen c7, white should first announce a check from h6, though I don't think that Kasparov could go for h6. If king g8, then queen takes g7 is coming, and then h6, and the pawn endgame is totally hopeless for black. That's why after rook g1 we have a resignation. Another very instructive and beautiful attacking game by Garry Kasparov. The pawn sacrifice allowed him to force black king to move, after which his attack escalated really very quickly. In the end, as usual, a chess puzzle for you where the task is to find the winning move for white. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.